No, it's like,
All right, we are live, but we'll wait a couple seconds here before we get started. The clock is just about 6. The only one we're missing is Mike. All right, why don't we bring it to order? Everyone seems to be here. Mike might be a couple minutes, but let's stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. All right, we'll do a roll call vote, starting from
Danielle Marie Kai, Lisa Gaudreau.
Peg Hurd,
Larry Brown.
Claudine Burnham,
Bob Carrier.
and Humphrey Williams, so we have a quorum, and in the public tonight, we have Mr. Doug Shute. All right, so what we're going to be looking at first, Doug, do you have anything that you want to bring up at this point as a public comment, or no? All right, then, what I would like to do is address the fact that the first order of business is to go back over the operating budget I sent out to you guys yesterday. Good news, if you hadn't seen it, I know Claudine was there. Monday I met with the BOS, and basically what we had talked about were 3 different things. One was the stipends, which have all been, the stipends that we had talked about have all been placed back to the default numbers. And in that discussion, just so everyone understands, that had to do with the supervisor of the checklist, the BOS themselves. It's actually in your handout. There's a handout that shows what the changes were. But it was addressing any of the stipends that didn't fit into the pay and retention plans. Okay, this is not for the elected positions such as the town clerk, tax collector, or the fire chief, or public works, or any of the employees, because they all fall under the new pay plan. So these were the positions as it shows here. The BOS itself, the treasurer was also a stipend. The supervisor of the checklist, the moderator, the trustee of the trust funds, and the emergency management director are all stipends. And so that adjusted not only theirs back to 0, but it also adjusted the Social Security and the Medicare. So and it wasn't a lot of money. It was just that in discussion, it's like we're going to have a pay plan that's going to go before the public for the vote, and to see whether or not we're going to implement that. Well, it should be the same thing for any of the stipends. Stipends shouldn't change without a separate vote from the town. So they voted on that. They agreed. And so that was all set back. The other 2 things were the sanitary sewer, and I'm going to end in the cemetery, and I'm just going to address those right now. I'll bring it up and show you what was changed out of that. I had a separate piece, but on the cemetery one, which is the first one here, let me get to that. There was an increase of from $6,000 to $11,000. $5,000 increase was discussed. But the reality is, and you'll see this in the summary page, there was no increase. It was they took $5,000 from the cemetery line item out of the government building money. So in the summary sheet, which is actually right here in your handout, I'm going to show you the summary sheet up here. It addresses the $5,000 was moved from the government building cemetery maintenance to cemetery budget. Okay, this is the sheet looks like, only yours looks just like this here. There's the one summary sheet. Okay, because I'm going to address that one here first. So the reality is the cemetery actually reduced their budget by $1,000. Okay, because they were at 10,000, we added $5,000 back from the government building line item, but we only went up $4,002, and I'll explain the $2 here, and there's a good reason for that. But I'm going to turn back over to the actual line items to explain the $2 $1. There's 2 $1 line items now. They agreed to create a new line item rather than have $11,000 under a miscellaneous line item. Because my comment was miscellaneous line items should not be planned events. They're supposed to be unplanned events. So on every other line, on every other budget, for the most part, it was around $1. So we created a maintenance line, 01-419-5725 for next year. That'll be the maintenance, and that's where the $11,000 go. And there'll be $1 left under the software, which we already had, and under miscellaneous. So the change is the new line item and the transfer from the government buildings line item. Any questions on that? We got fog rolling in? What is that?
I think it's a phone. Somebody's on vibrate?
Sounds like you got
Not mine.
you got a phone going off there, Peg?
Oh.
All that noise, now excuse yourself.
It was a problem.
Yeah, it was, okay. Any questions on the change to the cemetery item? All right, then I wanna go down to the sewer one, and just address the individual ones there. At our last meeting, when we realized that bringing the sewer budget back in put us over the, default, I was gonna meet with, and I told the Board of Selectmen when I met with them on Monday, I was gonna meet with them last week, which was the original plan, because that's when we found the information. But they didn't have the meeting, so I was able to meet Monday, but I did talk with our town administrator, Mr. Creveling, and he contacted Dale Sprague, and Dale made 2 adjustments to this to reduce the permits and testing down to 9,300, and the miscellaneous line item for 5,000 down to 2,500. So those 2 adjustments brought us back in under the default. Now, one more possible change is gonna come up, but it won't impact what we gotta do here tonight. I also made the comment that the miscellaneous item should not have $2,500 in it, that wherever that money needs to go, that Dale Sprague needs to identify the specifics. So I expect that that's gonna happen after we go through our approval process. It won't change our bottom line, because what we're not working on the individual line items, we're working on the total, okay? But what it might do is, it may be $1 difference if he keeps $1 there and moves the 2,500 instead of 2,499, okay? Is that understandable? All right, with that in mind, I would like to go to the summary page, which we were back at, and that's the one that had the $5,000 mark that showed about the government building piece, and go through the fact that we're matching, and I want to show you guys where we're at. At the top of the budget here, you'll see that the default, which is in this orangey gold color here on the screen, the default without the sewer is $4,440,084. The budget proposal, which is under it's 11.9 for the latest one from the Board of Selectmen, and ours, if you'll see, they both match now. $4,431,914. Okay?
That's not what we
No,
don't have these.
I'm gonna explain the difference, okay? That was, let me get to the camera too, here, because I wanna put it up there for everyone to see.
I'm like,
I will explain, no, I will explain why we're at. Okay, I told you that, well, actually, no, Peg, I told you. Just before the meeting, and Bob, I mentioned it to you, just before the meeting tonight, before I left for the meeting, Ernie Creveling sent me the insurance changes. So, let me go to them, that'll clarify the $11,000 difference, okay? I didn't have time to go and print out all the stuff at home because it was 5 minutes before I went out the door. So, he sent me this email, which I'm gonna bring up, I'll show you that. I forgot about that, I'd mentioned it to you and Peg and to Bob, and it just crossed my mind there, but, so, he sent me this, and as he said in the email, and I know Claudine, I don't know if you saw it yet, but he sent it to you. Okay. So he went through and he stated that he went and made the adjustments that I talked about at Monday's meeting, and he made all the adjustments with the exception of the insurance. So there was an $11,967 change, and I'm gonna go through the exact changes. You'll see them in a second, okay? That's why the difference in the summary. So, because there was an increase of 5.1%
Do we have?
dealing with school
Okay,
care.
so
That
I'm just
from-
gonna ask a silly question, because when he originally did the budget,
He
he
had,
did not put any insurance increase in.
and he now has the increase in there.
No, I
That's
know,
what-
but I mean, cause I know the school, Nathan always puts in a 9% increase when we're creating the budget,
Mhm.
and
Then
then
adjust
adjust
from there.
to what the actual rate is.
Yep.
So we ended up going down, which this is now going up.
It's going up, but it goes up with the default as well. So I'm gonna show you I'll show you the
Will
actual
they actually
changes.
have a contract?
That's what he's worked through with the numbers. He has not as he says in here, the increase announced by the school care was 5.1%. He says he's going to combine, let me make sure we can read that up there.
Across the board for every plan, because there's more than
Well,
just.
I know, let me just read what he's got. Well, here's what I wanna make clear. What changes in the insurance isn't gonna change what we said we were voting on, because we're not voting on the insurance piece. We're voting on everything but the insurance, okay? Because whatever change, and I just wanted to make sure our numbers matched, okay? So as he put in here, he says, combining through all their current makeup of policies to make sure the policy amounts for vacant yet to be filled positions make sense. So he hasn't finalized all of that, okay? But I wanted to make sure we had the latest numbers tonight as we were doing this. So he says if he's being conservative, he would include budget a family plan for each of those, especially in the PD, because chief's looking for a new position. He's assuming that probably gonna be a family plan. So I don't have all the answers on this for the insurance right now. But let me show you what he made for, he says he's also gonna have policy amounts for Primex for the workers' comp. He does not have that all final yet. But what I am gonna show you is what he changed when he sent it to me. So, let's go to the insurance here.
Are we gonna get the actual sheet that school care sends out for?
Once he's got that finalized. It's not gonna change what we have to do here. No, and let me explain why, Danielle.
Well,
No, because whatever the changes to the insurance, it will match the default in the end.
right, but if the amount of personnel does not match what the actual amount is budgeted for, we have an issue. You can budget for all family plans for all full-time employees in the town.
Mm-hmm.
That's not reality.
Get that.
We have an issue.
I understand.
So that's where I'm saying the numbers
Okay.
can change. That's why I'd like to see the
Okay.
breakdown of each plan.
Okay, but I want to clarify what the breakdown is in the plan for what we have to do for a budget, and we didn't do it with the same thing last year. We can't change anything dealing with the insurance as a budget committee. We have no say over what goes into the budget for the insurance. We can go back and make suggestions. My comment is we have no say in making those adjustments. That's purely up to,
Bottom
The town.
line, we can.
you can't tell the bottom line on the budget, yes.
Right.
But we take the insurance right out of it, because whatever the insurance adjusts does not change what we have for authority as a budget committee. Okay?
Right, but it can be reflected as the bottom line.
In the total budget at the end,
Right.
yes. But what we're trying to do right now is go through and just approve the bottom line for everything but the insurance. That's what I'm after for tonight, because we can't affect the insurance right now, right? Yes, Peg?
I'm gonna ask again about a contract, because we can only put in our default what the current
Contract calls for.
contract is for this year. So say if our total insurance bill was, I don't know, $50,000 for this year, that's all we can put in our default, because we don't have a contract with school care yet.
Mm-hmm.
And with the new rate increase, our insurance went up to 55,000.
Mm-hmm.
So our proposed budget is gonna show the 55, where the default is only gonna show the 50. And that's where I'm questioning why the change is going into the default, because you don't have to sign, unless he's actually signed a contract already with school care.
I understand what you're driving at. All I can do is go by what I was given for the information
Okay,
on
but I
him.
think that's a question that needs to be
It's a question that
asked.
no, because I don't disagree with, we need to see the information. I'm not looking to finalize the insurance piece here because we don't have the say. We're gonna address everything but that, okay? Tonight.
But if we're approving a budget,
No, okay. We're gonna approve the bottom line on all the departments. Okay? And what we agreed to was, we know that the insurance can still change up to the last moment, the end of the year. We can't go and affect that until that point in time. So all we need to do is address the insurance at that point in time, okay? We went through the same thing last year, except we had way too many meetings trying to get to that point, right? But, Larry, you've been doing this a long time. You in agreement with what we're talking about in the insurance? And Bob, you too, because both of you guys have been in a position for this before.
That,
Go ahead.
when the world was young, the school district was accused of unconscionably padding their budget by their obligation to provide family plan health insurance
Mhm.
for the district. Right now, 1% of 4 million is $40,000. And I just started to write down and went out of my head, how much are we under the default line?
$4,000, the actual number is 4,000 right now. Yes, this is $39.99, it's $4,000.
$4,000.
Yeah.
So that would be we are 1/10 of 1% under a $4 million budget by Barry Buchanan.
Yep.
I don't think that it's useful to try to hammer away at the number of possible family plan versus da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yep.
And if we know that $4,000 is the rise that health insurance may come in on, we are still running even with the default. And I keep hoping that people will see how many hours have gone in to trying to get this even, to get a fair budget for protection of workers, and if anything is clear, the disastrous impact of health insurance, and really a social obligation, irrespective of what party you're in. There is a community obligation to protect the health of your community.
Mm-hmm.
That's not quite the answer you want.
No, in all honesty, what I'm trying, I did want to hear that piece of it, but what I was trying to address and just making sure it's clear is, we're gonna go through tonight, the insurance there's gonna be some continued adjustments, that's why he even put it in email, he's given us what we've got now, and I wanted to go through what he gave me, because it's different than what's on your paper, okay? And go through the reasons why. In the end, the amount of money, as far as how much we're under the default, remain the same, okay, because of what his adjustments were. So this is what he gave me for figures under the proposed, okay? And you'll see where we were. He's gone back and forth. The default for 2020 versus what's proposed and what the actuals were, they're all up here, okay? As well as what the adjustments just were tonight. He made an adjustment on the health insurance from his proposal of $495.29 to $511,877, okay, based on what he understood, and the dental insurance went down from $24,820 to $15,883, okay. Now the retirement information went from $112,097 to $112,535, okay. Life insurance, same number, that didn't change. The unemployment insurance changed from 4625 that he gave us on 10/16 to 5198. The workman's comp went down from 68,961 to 65,672, which is actually right back down to the default, okay? And the proposed budget for the property insurance went from 56,331 back to the default of 58,213. This is where he put it. So that the change went from 757,952 to 769,919. And all I did, because like I said, we're not affecting anything on that, was match it for tonight's meeting, okay? Which is where we're showing right in this area here, okay? So that's the difference in the numbers. The summary sheet I gave you, I had printed out last night, okay? So what you're gonna see for a difference, I'll go from, I'll make sure that it's clear where we're at number-wise, okay? But what I wanna do is, instead of looking at the total, I wanna look at the department totals, which will match with the exception of the insurance, okay?
Well, just give us one thing, that
Yes.
first one, health insurance is 511?
511,877.
Okay, I almost said that.
Okay, and I'm gonna send it back out too, Bob, with the final, with the numbers that we have. So what I'd like to do is go over to the summary, and we'll start with the town administrative budget. And what I wanna do tonight, because we've gone through these, is I wanna call a roll, I wanna go through a roll call vote by department, okay? Make sense? Cause we're looking at bottom
With
lines.
understanding to readdress total bottom line
Once we get the
actual
final
figures.
insurance thing, we'll
Okay.
address the total, yes. All right. So the very first one's the town administrator. The proposed budget for both the BOS and for us is now 287,043, which puts us $13,398 under the default.
So do you want a motion?
Yes.
Okay, I will make a motion to approve the town administrative proposed budget of 287,043.
Second?
Second from Lisa Gothia, so I'll repeat the motion, we have a motion from Peg Hurd to approve the 287,043 budget for the town administrator, and seconded by Lisa Gothia, so it's open for discussion.
My only concern is the full-time line was at $1 last year. We have nothing in it this year, so if you eliminate it, you eliminate it completely.
And they wanted to eliminate it completely, is what was explained to us,
Not to be reopened.
not to be reopened, at this point in time. They have no plans for reopening that position, is what we were told.
Okay.
So, now, can they do something a year from now? It won't happen next year, but they could do, you know what I mean? All right, any other discussion? All right, hearing none, I call for a roll call vote,
Actually, yeah.
okay?
On your summary sheet here, New Hampshire Municipal.
No, I'm only talking about the town
Right,
administrator.
but that used to be built into the contract lines or
Yep.
the membership and dues for the
And-
town administrator.
And
Is
that went out last, yeah, they took it out last year. That was taken out last year. Even though we ended up on a default, they eliminated it last year for the budget. I left the New Hampshire MA in there only because, and there's nothing in it, only because of the fact that it shows in the previous years. But there is no line item for it anymore.
So he didn't build it into the contract this year?
He didn't put, that was taken out of that. And it was eliminated from this here. That, like I said, that's what the change was last year when we moved it down here, so no.
Okay.
NHMA itself, this is,
It's the
there's-
it's the
they
membership.
still have, they still have the membership there. That NHMA line is not the same information as the membership for the employees. It was still a member of NHMA. That was my title on when they gave it to us last year. Let me go pull that up.
The regional planning.
That was the regional planning aspect of things, yes. Okay. the New Hampshire MA is still built into the membership up under the town administrator.
That was my question.
Yes, I'm sorry.
That was my,
That
yeah,
is-
that was my
yes.
question. I'm like,
No,
why are
I'm
we
sorry.
getting rid of
I'm
New Hampshire
sorry, I didn't,
Municipal?
no, he didn't get rid of the membership.
Okay.
No, that's my fault.
So that's line 850.
Yeah, that line 850 does not exist. And it was not the membership piece. There was still a membership piece up here under the town administrator.
Okay.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. is
That's
that
I
what I was
misunderstood the question, so I'm sorry about
Okay,
that.
under town administrator.
Right here, under the town administrator,
Right.
line 850
Yep.
is the regular membership,
Okay.
not the separate one.
Okay.
Yep, okay.
And
Wanna
I,
verify?
what I'll do is I'll hide that line eventually, once we get past this budget. Okay, so back to the town administrator. Any other comments? All right, then I will call for a roll call vote, starting with Danielle.
Danielle Marie Guy.
Lisa Gattro, aye.
Peg Bird, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Colleen Burnham, aye.
Bob Carrier, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye. So it's unanimous. The town administrator budget we've approved. Our budget is 287,043 for the town administrator. All right, next up is the town clerk tax collector. We have both, we have $129,206. The increase, that was the salary increase, and also with the Social Security and Medicare. So an increase of $6,266 from the default. Do I have a motion?
I will make a motion to approve $129,206 for the town clerk / tax collector department.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, second from Lisa Gothia. So to repeat the motion,
Her name is
Gattro.
Gautreaux, what did I say? Gautreaux, I'm sorry, I didn't.
I'll take the second next time.
That's, Brown's easier, Gautreaux, and I know it's Gautreaux. I apologize, Lisa.
No worries.
All right, so to repeat the motion, we have a motion from Peg Hurd to approve the $129,206 for the town clerk tax collector, and it was seconded by Lisa Gautreaux. So we'll call for any discussion. All right, let's call for a roll call vote, starting with Danielle.
Danielle Marie Guy.
Lisa Gattro, aye.
Peg Bird, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Colleen Burnham, aye.
Bob Carrier, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye, so that's unanimous. All right, thank God we had some fun with that one. All right, the next one up is the treasurer, and it is $10,410.
I will make a motion to approve the treasurer proposed budget of $10,410.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Brown seconded, all right. All right. So, I will, I will repeat the motion. We have a motion from Peg Hurd to accept the treasurer's budget of $10,410, seconded by Larry Brown. Do I have any discussion? All right, then I will call for a roll call vote, starting with Danielle.
Aye.
Lisa
So-
Gattro, aye.
Peg Bird, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Colleen Burnham, aye.
Bob Carrier, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye. So that passes unanimously. Next one up, supervisor of the checklist. We have a proposed budget of $36.47 for both of us. That's a $150 increase, and that was due to supplies. That was explained during the joint. It was mailings and supplies. So, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve $3,647 for the supervisor of checklist
All
department.
right, do I have a second?
Larry,
Larry Brown seconded. So the motion is from Peg Hurd to approve $3,647 as the budget for the supervisor of the checklist, seconded by Larry Brown. Open for
Aye.
discussion.
Sorry.
Huh? What's that?
That was,
She jumped the gun.
was voting.
Oh, no discussion, then I'll call for the vote. Starting with
Aye.
Danielle, aye, okay?
Lisa Gattro, aye.
Peg Bird, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Colleen Burnham, aye.
Bob Carrier, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye, so it's unanimous. We have an approved budget of $36.47 for the supervisor of the checklist. All right, so the next one up is the moderator. And the moderator is an adjustment down from $986 to a final budget of $3,100, because of the fewer elections this coming year. So, do I have a motion?
I will make a motion to approve the $3,100 budget for the moderator.
All right, second,
I'll
from
second.
Danielle. Seconded that, so the motion is to approve $3,100 for the moderator's budget by Peg Hurd and seconded by Danielle Marique. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, let's go for the vote. Danielle?
Aye.
Lisa Gotro, aye.
Peg Hurd.
Larry Brown, aye.
Claudine Burnham, aye.
Paul Carrier, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye. So that carries. $3,100 is the budget for the moderator. Next up is the budget committee budget for $2,300. On this particular one, being the chair, I'll make the motions, and I push that one through to approve the budget for $2,300 for the budget committee. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, seconded by Peg Hurd. So the motion is to approve budget of $2,300 for the budget committee. Humphrey Williams made the motion. Peg Hurd seconded the motion. Any discussion? Hearing none. We'll go for the roll call vote again.
Danielle, aye.
Lisa Gotro, aye.
Peg Hurd, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Claudine Burnham, aye.
Paul Carrier, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye. So that carries. $2,300 for the budget committee. All right, next up is assessing. The assessing budget right now is, it was,
Trustees.
Tree.
I'm sorry, trustee of the trust funds. Thank you for catching that. I'm reading too quickly. $3,289 for trustee of the trust funds. We have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve $3,289 for the trustee of the trust fund.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Danielle Marique. So the motion on the floor from Peg Hurd is to approve the $3,289 budget for the trustee of the trust fund, and seconded by Danielle Marique. Do we have any discussion?
Shouldn't it
All
be
right.
the trustees of the trust fund?
Trustee of, I don't, that's how it's been, that's how it was listed in the thing. I didn't change the title, so.
I do
Good.
believe there's more than one, but that's all right.
All right, well, so anyways, let's go for a roll call vote. Other than that discussion,
Danielle Marique, aye.
Lisa Gotro, aye.
Peg Hurd, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Claudine Burnham, aye.
Paul Carrier, aye.
and Humphrey Williams, aye, so the motion carries unanimously. $3,289 is the budget for the trustee of the trust funds. Next is assessing, now that we're gonna keep that in the right order. We have a budget of $103,498. Do I have a motion on the floor?
I will make a motion to approve $103,498 for the assessing
Do I have a
department.
second?
Second,
Second by Mr. Brown. So we have a motion on the floor from Peg Hurd to approve the assessing department budget for $103,498, seconded by Mr. Brown. It's open for discussion. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll go for the vote.
Danielle Marique, aye.
Lisa Gotro, aye.
Peg Hurd, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Claudine Burnham, aye.
Paul Carrier, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye, so the motion carries unanimously. All right, we are not gonna touch the insurance and benefits. We discussed that earlier. That will be looked at again at the end when we have the final numbers, okay? So that brings us to government buildings. So government buildings is up there with a budget of $188,739. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the $188,739 for government buildings.
All right, do I have a second?
Second,
Second by Mr. Brown. So the motion on the floor from Peg Hurd is to approve the $188,739 for the government buildings budget proposal, seconded by Larry Brown. It's open for discussion. Do I have any discussion? All right, hearing none, call for the vote.
Danielle Marique, aye.
Lisa Gotro, aye.
Peg Hurd, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
We woke him up.
Claudine Burnham, aye.
Paul Carrier, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye, so that's unanimously approved. $188,739 for government buildings, thank you. Next up is the cemetery. We discussed the changes to that. So it is now $14,002 budget. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the $14,002 for the cemetery.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded from Danielle Marique. So the motion on the floor from Peg Hurd is to approve the $14,002 for the cemetery budget, and it was seconded by Danielle Marie. Any discussion? All right, hearing none.
Danielle
Vote.
Marique, aye.
Lisa Gotcha, aye.
Peg Hurd, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Colleen Burnham, aye.
Bob Carey, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye, so it unanimously carries. We talked about the NHMA, that line, that is not in the budget, because it's separate as a membership for the town administrator. All right, the next up is the police budget, which has now been reduced by 15,108 to 923,802. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the police department budget of $923,802.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Brown. So we have a motion on the floor from Peg Hurd to approve the $923,802 for the police department budget, seconded by Mr. Brown. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, call for the vote.
Danielle Marique, aye.
Lisa Gotcha, aye.
Peg Hurd, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Colleen Burnham, aye.
Bob Carey, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye, so that's unanimous as well. For the police department budget of $923,802. Next up is the fire department with a budget of $467,320. Motion on the floor?
I'll make a motion to approve the fire department budget of $467,320.
All right, do I have a second? That sounds like Larry just cleared his throat, and do I have a second? He's waiting for someone else. Do I have a second on the floor? Second on, all right, seconded by Claudine
Nice
Burnham.
try.
Yeah, all right. So with that in mind, we have a motion on the floor from Peg Hurd for the fire department budget for $467,320, seconded by Claudine Burnham. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll call for a roll call vote.
Danielle Marique, aye.
Lisa Gotcha, aye.
Peg Hurd, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Colleen Burnham, aye.
Bob Carey, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye. That's unanimous that the fire department budget has been approved for $467,320. All right, next is planning and code. We have an operating budget proposed for $110,180. Do I have a motion on the floor?
I'll make a motion to approve the planning and code budget of $110,180.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Brown. So we have a motion on the floor from Peg Hurd to approve the planning and code budget for $110,180, seconded by Larry Brown. Open for discussion. All right, hearing none, roll call vote.
Danielle Marique, aye.
Lisa Gotcha, aye.
Peg Hurd, aye.
Mr. Brown?
Larry Brown, aye.
Okay.
Colleen Burnham, aye.
Bob Carey, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye, so it's unanimous. The planning and code budget's been approved for $110,180. Next is the planning board with a proposed budget of $1,052. I have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the $1,052 for the planning board.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Brown. So we have a motion on the floor for the planning board budget to be $1,052. That was from Peg Hurd, seconded by Larry Brown. Open for discussion. All right, hearing none, call for the vote.
Danielle Marique, aye.
Lisa Gotcha, aye.
Peg Hurd, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Colleen Burnham, aye.
Bob Carey, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye. So the motion carries a $1,052 budget for the planning board. Next up is the zoning board adjustment with a budget of $650. Do I have a motion on the floor?
So moved.
So Larry Brown is making a motion on the floor for the $650 budget. Do I have a second?
Oh, I'll
Second.
second that.
All right, Peg Hurd seconded. So we have a motion on the floor from Larry Brown for the zoning board of adjustment for a budget of $650, seconded by Peg Hurd. It's open for discussion. All right, hearing none. The
Danielle
vote.
Marique, aye.
Lisa Gotcha, aye.
Peg Hurd, aye. I'm sorry.
I have no problem with shameless self-interest. Aye.
Colleen Burnham, aye.
Bob Carey, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye. So it's unanimous, $650 for the zoning board of adjustment, budget of so for next year. So let's see, the next one up is the Conservation Commission with a proposed budget of $5,373. Do I have a motion on the floor?
I'll make a motion to approve the $5,373 budget for the Conservation Commission.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded from Danielle Marique. So the motion on the floor from Peg Heard is to approve the budget for $5,373 for the Conservation Commission, seconded by Danielle Marique. Open for discussion. Okay, hearing none.
Aye.
Lisa Gotro, aye.
Peg Bird, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Colleen Burnham, aye.
Paul Carey, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye. So the budget is $5,373, unanimous decision for Conservation Commission. Next up is the Emergency Management. We're getting there, guys. $5,308 is the budget, proposed budget.
I'll make a motion to approve $5,308 for the emergency management.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Lisa Gautreau. So we have a motion on the floor from Peg Heard for the emergency management in the amount of $5,308, seconded by Lisa Gautreau. Open for discussion. All right, hearing none, we'll roll call vote.
Danielle Marique, aye.
Lisa Gotro, aye.
Peg Bird, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Colleen Burnham, aye.
Paul Carey, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye. So it's unanimous. $5,308 will be the budget for the emergency management department. All right, next up is the highway department with a proposed budget of $685,116. Do I have a motion on the floor?
I'll make a motion to approve the budget of $685,116 for the highway department.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Second from Mr. Brown. So the motion on the floor from Peg Heard is to approve $685,116 budget for the highway department, seconded by Larry Brown. Open for discussion. Hearing none, roll call vote.
Danielle Marique, aye.
Lisa Gotro, aye.
Peg Bird, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Colleen Burnham, aye.
Paul Carey, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye, so the motion carries unanimous. The budget for the highway department is approved at $685,116. Next up, solid waste and recycling. Bottom line budget, $215,674 is proposed.
I will make a motion to approve the $215,674 for the solid waste recycling department.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Seconded by Mr. Brown. So the motion on the floor from Peg Heard is to approve the $215,674 for solid waste and recycling, seconded by Larry Brown. Open for discussion. All right, roll call vote. Daniel?
Danielle Marique, aye.
Lisa Gotro, aye.
Peg Bird, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Colleen Burnham, aye.
Paul Carey, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye, so the motion passes unanimously. The budget is $215,674 for solid waste and recycling. Next up is outside appropriation. Outside appropriation budget proposed is $19,701. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the $19,701 for outside appropriations.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Lisa Gautreau. So the motion on the floor from Peg Heard is to approve the $19,701 budget for the outside appropriation, seconded by Lisa Gautreau. Do I have any discussion? All right,
Did
roll call
we-
vote.
Get a request or discussion from the Wakefield Resource Center? I missed
Did
a
not-
lot while I was
Did not.
gone.
No, we did not. And as a matter of fact, I do know that they contacted him more than once too. So.
And all the other
all the
totals-
others were adjusted, the ones that,
Are the actual requests
yes.
from each organization?
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I missed that.
Oh, no, that's okay. I
And
know
things
you
aren't
were.
posted at all, so it's hard to keep track of
No, I understand that. You
You-
were on the phone. That makes it even
doing
harder.
one of these.
Yeah. Any other discussion?
You know, that was my
I know.
Well, and it
Mine
was
point.
I
all
think
of us, yes.
all of us collectively.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Any more? All right. Without further ado, call for a roll call vote.
Danielle Marique, aye.
Lisa Gotro, aye.
Peg Bird, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Colleen Burnham, aye.
Paul Carey, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye. So the budget of $19,701 for outside appropriations has been approved unanimously. Next up is welfare. So welfare budget proposed is $24,954. Do I have a motion on the floor?
I will make a motion to approve the $24,954 for the welfare department.
Do I have a second?
Lisa Gotro, second.
All right, so the motion on the floor from Peg Hurd is to approve the $24,954 proposed budget for the welfare, seconded by Lisa Gautreau. Open for discussion.
Did,
I may have something, I don't know. I wanna go look at the.
when was the
detail.
adjustment from the office supplies was proposed for 300 and now it's up to 500? When was that
Let me
adjustment
go back, let me
made?
go back and pull that up. And I've kept track of the
10/16?
changes.
It was the first time I see a change in.
Yes.
Yeah. Which, there's no one in the office. Why do we need office supplies, let alone an increase of them?
Comment back from them when that was asked, because it was asked, was that the office supplies will still be needed with contract services. Whoever's doing the work is why they put the proposed change in there. That's all I got back for an answer on that one at the time. Now, that's why we're here, we can, and why we're discussing it, but what would you like to do?
I would like to reduce it back to the 300 if we have to leave it in there at all. I don't think that,
Any other,
I know that the 500 is far beyond anything that they need. The 300 is far beyond anything that would be utilized.
okay, any other discussion? I hear what you're saying, so, any other comments or any other discussion? What's that, Peg?
I really
It also
need a-
goes with the,
And magnifying glass on top of everything?
it also goes with the mileage line,
The mileage line stayed, yeah, at 100. so.
which, again, there's no personnel and there's no contract to review to see what exactly is included in the contract. So, I mean, it's
Well, again, that's why we're here
Dolly.
discussing, John.
day late, dollar
Mr.
short.
Brown, you have something to add?
But, yeah, that, $4,000 is 1%. 400 would be, about, 0.1%. And the welfare law says that, any person who is poor shall be maintained by the overseers of public welfare, up to and including burial expenses. Burial expenses, I think, are about $850, and it is going to be a hard winter. Sorry to be a pessimist,
No?
but,
No?
it,
Well, and to address your comment, we all know that one way or another, regardless of what goes into this thing here, if additional funds are needed to help anyone in this town, additional funds will be utilized,
Mhm.
okay? So the 24,954, because I'm not taking anything away from your comment, you
Nope.
know that, is
If
what
anyone
goes in
knows
for a proposed budget, but if it
comment.
ends up costing, and you can see over here under the, you know, if it ends up costing more money, because we've had that happen in the past, and I will bring that up so anyone at home can see. We have had, you know, situations in most cases where it was under, but, you know, we have had cases where the budget was very high and then we didn't expend. We've had other cases where it was spent high, you know, I mean, overall, it's been under the overall expenditures, but it has definitely been higher than $24,000 is what I was addressing. So-
I would love to see $19,701 come back to the town for lack of need.
Oh, that would be nice. It would mean that people didn't
Yeah.
need the extra help.
Always disappointed pessimist, think about it.
So anyways, any more discussion?
Now, I just wanna say that my hesitation was going back to, and I don't know, as you had it up there, sorry.
Well, what's that? I'm sorry.
That's why I was looking at my little, I need my microscope
Oh.
to look at it.
No, which
But,
one?
no, I'm just happy that nothing has been cut from electricity and rent and.
No. But,
And all of that and heat, so I'm okay.
Oh, it has. Not more than the original proposed, but it's definitely decreased a lot from
where it was in the
from
past.
last year's. $8,500 for rent.
Yeah, it
It
has
was
been, it has been
25.
decreased. It has been
It was
decreased.
25,
Last year.
The default
25
was
what?
25,000. $2021 default is 25,000.
you know, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the 2020 budget. I keep forgetting because
Yeah.
we're in 2020.
Well, even the 2020 default was 25,000 as well.
Okay, so updated,
The default's still 25,000. They put in a proposed budget of 8,500.
alright, then you know what, I'm having a problem because I'm really looking at the wrong column. And I was thinking it stayed exactly the same,
No, it did not.
No,
so all of them went down.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm. It did get down, but as we said, regardless of whether that's the
I know.
proposed budget goes down, they'll still have to cover anything that goes over it. So,
My concern wasn't with the general expenses or the general assistance lines. It was if you're eliminating the position and the personnel in the building, why do you need to have associated charges
no, I understand what you,
for
Yep.
a,
For the office-
a
for the
body
office.
that's not there?
no, for the office. So, what
I
would
mean,
you, what
if-
would you like, what would you, and here's the thing, I mean, so I know you're discussing it, but you haven't said what you wanna see done. And then, and we need to address what you wanna see done. We have a motion on, the reason the reason I'm asking is we have a motion on the floor right now to approve it. But in the discussion, you, and I agree, you've got comments, but do you wanna, what do you wanna do?
I mean, at the end of the day, there's, hypothetically speaking, $25,000 to,
Address
Use
what
as they
needs to be
wish.
done. Mhm.
but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what that dollar figure is, you still need to provide.
That's, I agree
So-
with you, so I'm just
Don't
asking,
really
is there
matter.
anything
I'm
that you,
just
is there
drawing
anything
the
you wanna
concern
do
and
to
the-
change this?
The highlight of,
Yeah.
let's look at the actual reality and the logistics of where we're coming
Mhm.
up with these figures.
No, I
Do I
understand.
agree on the bottom number? Yes. Do I agree of the logistics of it? No.
Okay,
So I will leave the figure of 24,954 as the figure going forward,
okay,
personally. But
no, and that's why I asked, you know, what do you want?
if someone
Any-
else wants to make adjustments, that's on
No.
them. I
And
just
does
wanted
anyone
to-
else have any other comment on it? Okay, so the motion on the floor, if there's no other comments, the motion on the floor is for the bottom line of the budget, 24,954. No further discussion, I'll call for a roll call vote. Starting with you, Danielle.
Very good.
Well, I think so. Larry, you don't have a comment, right?
That,
Or did
Well,
you?
he
I'm
had-
sorry.
he had
Well,
a-
I didn't know if
one
you
of
were making
these.
a,
I will. One, structure of services provided, to individuals, one thing. Structure of service provided by personnel, another thing. And structure of competencies and good service, offered, all of which are supported.
okay, so with that in mind though, are we gonna make any, is there any proposed adjustments? No? Okay, if that's the case, then I'll call for a vote.
Danielle Marie, aye.
Okay.
Lisa Gattro, aye.
Peg Heard, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Claudine Burnham, aye.
Bob Perry, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye. So the motion carries. The budget is approved for 24,954 for welfare. All right, next up is the recreation. The budget for the recreation is proposed at $73,307.
I will make a motion to approve the recreation budget of $73,307.
Second, Larry Brown.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor from Peg Heard to approve the $73,307 proposed budget for recreation, seconded by Larry Brown. It is open for discussion. Okay, seeing none. Call for roll call vote.
Danielle Marie, aye.
Lisa Gattro, aye.
Peg Heard, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Claudine Burnham, I.
Valkyria, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye. So the motion carries. The budget is $73,307 for the Recreation Department. Next up is the library. Proposed budget for the library being $60,385. Do I have a motion?
Sec,
But-
move,
Huh?
accepted.
Just
I move
something
to
he
accept
says.
the library budget. Oh.
I'll do the opposite of what Larry's trying to do.
For the number that is escaping my eye at the moment.
I've got it for $60,385.
And yes, in that very line, the $60,385 dollars.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, so we have a all right, so we have a motion on the floor the motion from Larry Brown to approve the $60,385 library budget, seconded by Peg Hurd. Do I have any discussion? All right, I'll call for a vote.
Danielle Marique, aye.
Lisa Gattro, aye.
Take her eye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Claudine Burnham, I.
Valkyria, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye, so the motion carries unanimously. $60,385 budget for the library. Next up is economic development with a proposed budget of $1,504.
I'll make a motion to approve the economic development budget of $1,504.
Second.
Seconded by Danielle Marique, so the motion on the floor from Peg Hurd is to approve the economic development budget, $1,504, seconded by Danielle Marique. Open for discussion.
Just a question for conversation. I
Yep.
do not remember how that budget went down. Do you remember which category?
Yeah, and I can bring it up, and I do know that Dennis did talk with them about it. Let me bring it up.
And there was just one line in there. Kind of
Professional-
other,
Basic-
and it was broken out.
Yeah, it basically what it was is the budget had originally had 1,900 for professional services. It ended up being, it was proposed last year to and then they shifted it around but he reduced the professional services to $1,000
Oh, okay.
and then moved it out to $1 under these other line items and 500 under miscellaneous for them. So that's how that ended up being broken down to the 1,504 from $2,500.
We're
Yep.
still hammering away on exit 17.
I hear you. Any other discussion on this one? All right, then I will call for a vote.
Danielle Marique, aye.
Lisa Gattro, aye.
Take her eye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Claudine Burnham, I.
Valkyria, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye, so it's unanimous. $1,504 budget for economic development's been approved. All right, next two line items. Next line item is next budget up here is the debt service principal, which is $248,480.
There's nothing we can do about that.
Nope. So I'm not even gonna ask for that one. And the same thing with the next line item, which is the debt service interest, seeing as though we don't have a say in it. Okay? So the next one we are gonna work on for approval, sanitary sewer. We have a budget that's proposed for $93,204. We did talk earlier about what those adjustments were. Do I have a motion on the floor?
I will make a motion to approve the sanitary sewer of $93,204.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Danielle Marique. So the motion on the floor from Peg Hurd is to approve the $93,204 budget for the sanitary sewer, seconded by Danielle Marique. Open for discussion. Peg.
Me.
Yes, go ahead, Peg.
I mean, I know I have talked about this
Mm-hmm.
when you sent that other email out about all of a sudden, oh my goodness. I really honestly feel as though I need to say, and that something needs to be done because I do not hook up to a sewer system. So, yet that amount of money is increasing my tax rate. If I'm hooked up to the sewer system, I'm kind of getting a double whammy because my tax rate is going up and then I'm getting charged for using the sewer, which I know because the money comes back in, this is an expense, but why it can't be taken out of the bottom line budget so that my tax rate does not go up. Did I express myself?
You express
clearly
yourself,
there?
and that's part of the discussion.
Yeah.
Larry, I know you look like you wanted to address that.
Please do not, shoot, Mr. Schumer. We're getting some of that money back because of our parking lot is being used for overflow parking for total landscaping. The
I'm sorry.
DRA says that the budget has to be a complete statement of costs. Only the sewer department users pay the sewer department charge.
I know.
So that money comes back out of the total charge.
Well, it comes back out, but shows up in the revenue, but does not reduce immediately your tax rate or my tax rate. So we are in effect paying taxes on something that we don't use. And I know over I don't know how many years since I've been involved with anything in town, there's been an awful lot of talk of the water district being separate. Why is it separate? Why is it not part of the town? And this kind of really opened up my eyes going, aha, now I see, because there are charges affiliated with the water department, but those people who are on town water pay those charges, and I do not get taxed for whatever their expenses are. So I'm just kind of throwing that out
No,
there
I know
for
you are.
discussion and,
Yep. And you and I've talked, and I know
Yeah.
other people have talked too.
yeah,
This does go into the budget up front, and if you're looking at if you're looking at the 93,204, it's roughly 20 cents per $100,000. 20 cents per thousand for every $100,000 in the budget goes out to the taxpayers. So this right here would be somewhere around 19 cents per thousand that people are being taxed. Money does come back. It does come back to the budget, but if it doesn't go back into the tax rate, then people are taxed on that. So that is, there's two different issues. I do know, and Larry's right, per regulations, because of how it's worked in the community, they've got to put this in, it's got to be rolled into the budget, but even though it comes back, it doesn't offset directly. So it offsets indirectly. And I know that the cemetery also reimburses the town for any of the expenses there as well. Bob, you had a
I
comment?
have a question on this. Larry, you were on the sewer district.
He's been on every panel,
Yeah,
yes, which is good, but
But Dale Sprague was also on that. Why is it, was that always the way, we always put it in the budget? And because, I forgot to tell you, you hired a person who sent out the bill. And I was trying to find the book. It looked like it had a small budget in it, but with the commissioner, I thought you guys actually handled all this stuff on your own. Cause I know the water district's different, but when there was a sewer district commissioners, I thought things was different from that.
The sewer commissioners had a smaller executive responsibility, structurally equivalent to the Board of Selectmen. In terms of the operation and the tax impact, that has to be calculated according to the gross budget of the standards set by DRA. So the math was done by, would have been done by Kim, would have been done by Ann Ryan, and some others. But it was just a simple mathematical computation, and controlled by the tax rate set by DRA. And it just had to go in the formulary.
when they go to set the tax rate, the revenues will offset how the tax rate goes in. But to come back to what the comment is and to address Peg's original comment, if the money doesn't go back to the taxpayers by bringing it back out of the tax rate, then they are being taxed.
yeah.
Okay?
One more thing.
Yeah.
Jim. The sewer district does have a revolving. and I know, Larry, you could probably say something, it's probably dedicated, but there's a considerable amount of money in that fund. It's money in, money out. I asked, I think, not this year, last year, that could he put some of it against the budget? I don't know how much is in there. At the time I saw it was over $500,000. And I don't know why they can, I know it could be dedicated for the project possibly, but still, if there's any increases, could he actually soften this up a little bit?
Okay, could you repeat that a minute, Bob, because I don't wanna lose that, I mean, only because I wanted you to say it a little bit louder, just in case, because we've also got,
I can't take this thing off, but.
Yep.
Want me to wait?
no, go ahead, I'm listening.
Okay. The sewer district has a revolving fund.
Yes,
And I believe 2 years ago, I asked if he would take some of that money out, cause it's money in and money out. Could he offset that budget a little bit? If there's an increase, can he absorb it? And I believe he can. I'm not totally sure how they get their funding, cause there's an awful lot of money in there. And the last time I noticed, when I got a revolving fund, the paperwork, the report rather, there was at least $500,000 in there.
yeah, I don't know what's in the revolving fund, I only know, the only report I've got's the MS9, which was on the capital reserve fund. So-
The report can be gotten to the treasurer.
Yeah.
He has all that.
Yeah.
In fact, there's other revolving funds in there as well. There were other departments who had it, who, to reduce their budget, they did pull money out of there, or if he had to. I won't mention the department, but he lowered his, and he said, if I need the money, I'll go in there and get it out of there. So, there's money that could help soften this up a little bit.
Well, let me bring something up on my part of it too, and I did bring this up when I talked with Ernie Kreblin. My issue is, okay, if they're gonna match the funds, then the increase, which right now, if you can see here, is $4,170 increase, okay, over the default. My comment back, and again, this is just my comment, this isn't obviously a straight budget committee piece, is why wouldn't it, whatever it's going to be matched? If they're gonna refund the town, then we shouldn't see an increase. So, because the bottom line to me is if we, from what I understand, and this is to give Dale Sprague, I haven't talked with Dale Sprague myself, this is just back from Ernie himself, said that if additional funds are needed, then he could cut more. So, in our interest, we can turn around and go and affect this, okay? And my point would be, what was that now? What did you have, Peg?
I actually have the capital reserve funds. I would like this back because I've got the school district on
See if
here.
I've got the capital reserve funds too. That
Okay, cause
report.
that was 71,000.
71,000, yes.
the sewer?
No, yeah,
Yeah,
I've got,
okay.
well, no, because I was only addressing, because he said like the revolving
Right.
fund was different. So,
It is different.
It is
revolving
different?
fund is
Okay.
different than the capital reserve fund. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
never mind.
No, it's not, it was not the same. So there is a capital reserve, and it's okay, no, they can't see you, Peg, because I got the screen, I'm showing the screen. But, that's the capital reserve fund is $71,000. All right,
The other thing, Mr. Chairman,
yes.
do we know where they stand with their bills? Is everybody paying, or is there some bill?
Yeah, and that I don't know. I mean, that's obviously not something we've gotten into in the past, but that's a good question. I mean, like anything else, it becomes the same type of thing as we may have a budget that's proposed here of $4 million, almost, over $4.5 million, but if people aren't paying taxes, it's the same type of thing. You know what I mean? You don't get necessarily all the revenue back that you're supposed to be getting,
Well, I
so,
guess it was the ratepayers, are they all caught up paying? their-
yeah, that I don't know.
We don't see what was brought back, and
Right.
we don't know the whole business, okay? I guess that's what it is.
Nope.
I don't know how they get the extra income to keep replenishing that, but there's gotta be something they do. There's gotta be the rates that they use.
Well, the rates obviously go up and down, same thing with the water side, and the water isn't in here.
Yeah.
But the sanitary sewer we know is. But yeah, their rate adjustment is for, obviously for those that are connected to the sewer.
Yeah.
But to come back to what our general conversation, reel it back in, so Peg, to address yours, yes, it does get taxed. As Larry said, it needs to be addressed. Unless it to me, I mean, unless it comes back into the tax rate, it's going to be taxed by, you know, and okay, we're talking 10 cents per thousand. That's not a lot, but it is money that gets taxed for people that aren't using the sewer. I was told by Ernie Krevling that it could be adjusted more, and I did address specifically the increase, okay? Do we want to go any further than that on the discussion? Do we want to address that in, you know, that amount? That's the question as part of this discussion I'd like to ask you guys. Because we got to come back to, are we going to approve the bottom line budget, or are we going to make an adjustment? Mr. Brown, you look like you were ready to say something.
That, we're still, we are still looking for a bottom line on the cost of insurance.
Correct.
Okay, so our bottom line budget is not final until it includes the cost of insurance.
Correct.
So, double-barreled shotguns are popular.
I know where you're going with this, and that's good, and that's all, that's fine.
That's so.
Yep.
When, the insurance comes in, if it's necessary to put a second cartridge in, to address the sewer, do both.
Okay, that's a good comment. So, with that in mind, I want to find out where everyone's feeling, because he's right. We do not have to necessarily settle this one tonight on that particular item. We've got everything else done but this one and the insurance. So, as part of the discussion.
I agree with Larry, if we do need to do it, but I would rather have Dale do it himself.
No,
He did
absolutely.
bring it down Monday night, he did bring it down somewhat,
Yep.
but.
Well, with that, and he's right, and to address that, Bob, that is, I think, where Larry's going. It's not for us to make the adjustment,
Yeah.
but we do not, we can, basically, to readdress that, we could leave this one open, just like we do with the insurance one, until we get a final answer back.
And, if I may.
Yes.
Never get the chance. Mr. Chairman.
That's fine.
Also, what came up, is we don't have the percentage of, deadbeats, sort of, people who for one reason or another, are not current, on their charges. We don't know the elasticity, of the revolving fund.
Nope.
What it can reasonably contribute and not cover anticipated expenses. I know we are taking a higher hit for the cost of some chemicals. We are looking at increased costs that may come our way because of our participation in the mitigation of the Great Bay nitrogen
Mm-hmm.
levels. So, I think it would be useful if the chair would request who's doing it, Julius,
Yep.
whoever is assigned that, to bring the committee up to date, on the money available in the revolving fund, which is not dedicated for one purpose or another. And what the percentage, how current, income is, against, uncollected funds. And that will give, people in the audience, again, a clear sense that we are really trying to get the best number we can, and not, leave, people, fermenting,
Nope.
by themselves rather than having an official answer.
Okay, nope, and I agree with your comments, Larry. All right, so with that in mind, and to be able to move on, do we want to rescind the second okay? Who, I'm trying to remember
I
who
think that
put.
was me.
That was Danielle, do you want to rescind your second?
Yes.
And would you,
I will rescind my,
okay, your motion? So, Amy, for the record, the second from Danielle Marique and the motion from Peg Heard to approve the $93,204 budget has been rescinded. So right now, that is open. Mr. Brown,
May I add the small phrase, without prejudice?
without prejudice, yes. So with that in mind, we have gone through all the bottom line budgets with the exception of the insurance and the sanitary sewer Larry, I have your comments. I will find out about getting the information so we get updated for our next meeting, is what I will look for. Claudine, you understand what we're looking for too? I'll address it. I mean, when you see Ernie, I'll talk with him as well. But so the BOS understands what we're asking of the sanitary sewer. You guys need to know is, where do they stand on their general fund? I mean, on their revolving fund, and where do they stand on the current state of collecting funds from the users? We'll try to get that information. I will also find out, and it'll come back to, as I mentioned with Ernie Kreveling, is could they just stay with the default in any adjustments? I mean, that's something else that we could look at, because that would put us at 8170 under the default if this stays at the default instead of being an increase. So, with that in mind, we are done with the 2021 bottom line budget at this point, till our next meeting. All right. Thank you, guys. It's a lot of work, as we all know. So let's go back to where we're at on the agenda.
Can I just make a comment?
Yes.
I just wanna thank you for your very detailed, ongoing record of the budget.
Okay.
It's very impressive. I know it's very microscopic, but it's very informative to be able to see where we've gone, so thank you.
Well, I believe in history, because without it, it's very hard to find out, especially in our history, even since September. This is why we need, the more it changes, we know that no matter how you do it, we end up with some of these micro changes, and it may not sound like much, but not knowing the details makes it harder, so knowing it makes it a little bit easier to understand.
Well, I thank you for putting in that much
Yep.
work. It's a lot of work, so.
All right, thank you. All right,
Because if
so,
that work wasn't put in, then the errors and miscalculations would not be known, and
Yeah.
that's unacceptable.
Yep.
And
Yep.
probably more would be made.
Absolutely.
as I mentioned in our last meeting, I do have the rights now. I'm going to find out how to post this. I plan on posting this one right here, and any adjustments, so that the public will not only see it for the people that may be viewing this tonight and in future days, but this is gonna get posted on the Budget Committee's website, along with the expenses as we go, so, yes, Peg.
You know what I recommend, quite
Okay.
honestly, is the summary sheet first,
Yes, that's gonna go out that way.
and then
Yep.
behind that, all
Yep.
the details, so
Yeah,
that
it won't
you
go
might
in
have
as, because it
questions.
won't be going in as the spreadsheets that we all see and edit. It goes in as a Google, your
Right.
favorite. So it goes in
The
as
Google
Doc?
thingy.
your Google Docs.
The
It goes in
Google
the
thingy.
Google thingy, you should put it. But yes, the summary sheet will be there, and then the details will come
Okay.
in. They won't see every page that we've got right now. They're gonna see all the pages though with the final information, so,
Okay, good.
okay?
You need
Uh,
help.
Yes, don't, trust me, I'm probably gonna bring you now that you're out of, isolation and lockdown for yes, I will definitely have that, because I want more than one person to be able to understand this piece. All right, with that in mind, I'm gonna close that out. I'm gonna save that so I don't miss anything that we've done. We're gonna bring up the agenda. The next thing is going to be on the school report. Peg, I'm going to,
Alright, what are you gonna bring
let
up
me bring up the expenditure report that I got
for September?
for September, yes. And then we will talk about that. As far as the school budget proposal, I sent, and I want to mention as I'm bringing this up, and I did talk with Doug, we have our next meeting scheduled for the 24th. That's our regular meeting, because this was actually a special one in here. And I'd like to be able to bring the school in. We're gonna figure out logistics as to whether it's gonna be here or whether it'll be at the school. But we're limited time-wise, obviously. I will say that I forwarded it out there, and as I mentioned to you guys, at over $23,000 under the default. That is great. That's, they did what we asked, just like the town did what we asked, and, that's all we can ask for, is to try to make sure that we do get that, so the public will understand that we're trying to push for those types of changes. So let me bring this up and get to the school expenditure reports. So the last one we had was right here. I've got the summary table up. Peg, I don't know how you want to address it
Okay, well,
first. Let me
how
know which.
Alright, how I do it and the questions and answers that I send out to everybody
Mhm.
is the entire thing
I'm gonna bring
for
that
the
up.
lines?
Yep, I'm gonna bring it up. You just tell me
Oh,
which line.
go.
Oh, it's all there.
Okay.
I want you to tell me which line you wanna go to
Alright,
talk about first.
1100,
Can we make it a little?
I'm gonna make it
Line
bigger
bit.
once I find out what she's after, yeah.
alright, 1150, 110.
All right, 1,151, 110, I'm right there. That's the teacher salaries,
On the elementary para salaries.
right there.
Yeah, Pallery.
Para? Like, spoken like a true school teacher to call it Palera.
Okay, that is over again because we've had to hire more paras, unfortunately, so. And then if you go down to the 51250 middle substitutes, that's over a little bit. What we did was hire a couple of permanent subs for the district. And we hired one for a year, but then because of not knowing what was gonna happen this year with, people being out maybe.
Yep.
We hired a couple more just temporarily.
Now, before we move too far,
Yep.
because people at home are seeing this too, and we got people in here that may not, when you're saying over, it's not over expended to date, it's projected to be over expended.
Right,
Okay, so I wanna make sure that's clear, when you're
Yeah.
looking at the balance out here, it's projected between, the budget is set for, like, for the first one under the para salaries,
Yeah.
is set for 17,554.50. Year to date's been as of September was $2,038. But he's encumbered, and this is how Nate does this, because I know we sat
I know.
extensively. It's not the way I do budgets, but that's the way they do budgets. He encumbers what he believes the expenses are going to be for the year. That's how he puts that in there. And sometimes he doesn't encumber the full amount, and I want to touch on that one, because if you notice under the very top line for elementary teacher salaries, he's encumbered 729,574 of the 910. Okay, so he's not projecting to spend all of that money at this point, and there's adjustments. That's part of it, right?
There probably will not be adjustments. The budget is based on the default from last year,
Right.
which was based on.
Yeah, no, I understand where we're at. I'm just
So-
letting, but also where he's at, so.
Alright, so turnover, if we have a teacher who's on, the top-ish scale making a lot of money, we replace that teacher when they leave.
Somebody lower.
And we replace that person with somebody lower,
Mhm.
then obviously
We're not gonna spend the
our
money.
expenses are going to go down.
Correct.
So that is why the encumbrance is less than what the budget was,
Right.
because that budget again goes back to 2018
Mhm.
default budget.
Yep.
And that was based on the number of teachers.
You had at that point in time and where they were at.
So I mean,
Correct.
it's kind of a,
No, I understand no, and I just say, I
Right,
said,
but
I
I
just
wanna
wanna
make
make
sure
sure
that-
everyone understands here, correct?
right,
Correct.
and since you brought it up, I figured I
Yep.
would explain further, so,
Nope, that's good.
um,
So anyways, back to the para salaries, so he's encumbered 24,793
Right.
because additional paras have been brought in,
right,
and
so that's-
they're projecting spending it $9,277.30 over.
right.
Okay.
Is that because they have more students that need the paras, or they're utilizing the paras as secondary teachers for remote?
Some of them are.
Or both.
Actually, I hear what you're saying, but there are a couple of paras who, I know of one retired para who came back to
Assist.
work remotely, which is awesome because, you do need people to do remote teaching.
No,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I have
No.
no idea.
Yeah, no, it's crazy with this hybrid and the days remote and we have kids whose parents opted for them to be fully remote, so, it's like a real
Sit
hybrid.
in a mom's shoes.
Yeah.
I know, God, tell me about it.
But as we go through, because just to go through, because we're under the education piece here for the teachers, I know you're going through
Right.
the over expenditures. Right now, the projection just for the 1,100 regular education is,
Where are we?
he's got, the very top line. The budget was 3.2, right now it's encumbered at 2.4 with a balance of 406, and that will adjust as the year goes through,
Oh,
I
that's
know
it,
that.
this is up at the top,
Yeah.
never mind.
Well, that's only because you were starting, you were We
No, I
were
know-
only on
no,
the middle
totals-
substitutes next.
I'm sorry, the totals are on the top, I'm
Yeah.
turning the page.
Yeah,
looking
it's
for
back,
it.
it's, I know, I'm not a fan of this particular
None of us
format,
are.
but,
Okay, and any health insurance, just as you're going through, and you
yeah.
see any health insurance that is over, again, change of plans. We may have had somebody when the 2018 budget was put in, that was taking a single plan, we hired somebody who is now taking a family plan,
Mhm.
you know, yada yada, it's crazy.
Yep.
It is crazy, but,
Okay, next one you want me to go to?
okay, the second page,
That doesn't help me.
the next page, well, oh, I'm sorry.
That does not help me,
Yeah,
gives me a line
sure it does.
item.
Come on.
I can roughly guess.
55610.
Alright, 55610, so
Yeah,
tuition,
middle school, public tuition.
got it. Yep, yeah, there was nothing budgeted for.
Right, because we certainly hadn't planned on sending a student out, but this was a situation where, we approved sending a student to another public school.
Okay.
So, okay, now under special education,
Mhm.
51111110 under 1200.
Little Rams. Right?
Elementary sped teacher
Oh, okay.
salaries
Right there.
and high school. There's kind of some movement around, so an elementary might have gone to middle, whatever.
Okay.
But again, turnover is not easy.
These are pretty close to balanced out right now, though.
Yep.
So, the biggest one though is the Little Rams teachers one was the one that I would have.
Alright, which Little Rams?
Yep, 51,110.1. Second one in from the total. Little Rams teachers, that's the one that's overexpended.
Oh, you've got, oh wow, you've got the real one, cause overall, if you roll it all up,
Yeah, roll it all up, you're okay.
yeah,
I'm
right.
only looking at, well, I know you normally address the individual items, so the Little Rams teacher salaries were the one,
So we've got one person making 138,000.
I don't know,
another
that's why I'm
making
asking you.
174,000. This is good.
yeah.
I have no.
So there's one to tag for you for later on, find out.
All right, so
I'm only going because as we were going down through, I just happened to
no, I
see
know,
that
but
one
you've
showing
got
up.
The actual every single line.
Yeah.
Where I've just got.
You've only got the ones where you were addressing, so that was just
No,
one for.
no, no. What I'm saying is all of those Little Rams teachers' salaries, I have is just one line.
Oh, okay, all
And
right,
if you add all that up,
okay.
we still have $9,269 left. So that's why I said I have no clue what all of that is.
I don't know, he's got a bunch of different adjustments in here, and this is what Nate sent us, so. And normally we only see the 1, 2, and 3, so that we know it's elementary, middle, and
right.
high school. But,
And Little Rams is the preschool.
Yep.
Yeah, I will check on that because that does not make any sense to me at all.
okay,
Because they would not be up to the 2 and 3 because
that's what I.
whoa. All right, I will check on that because that's
Different, it's different, so yes.
very bizarre.
See, I've been paying attention, Larry.
Question, are the Little Rams still, as I think I remember, doing an outreach into the community, to provide a balanced preschool, environment, of inclusion? And will that have the impact on the cost of teaching?
Not the cost of a teacher, if I'm understanding what you're asking. So if I were a preschool teacher, I would be under the teacher contract. So I would be, I mean, if you and I were on the same step, I'd be making the same amount of money as you would as a high school or middle school or elementary school teacher.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
The Little Rams program is for children at risk for one.
It used to be just for children at risk.
Yes.
However, state, it was, and I think it might have even been federal, that you have to have close to, if not exactly, a 50-50 ratio of, and I hate, I don't even know what the
And it-
word, correct
A
word
represent, a
is
representative including.
representative versus a child who needs services.
And is that process a cost that might be reflected in that number?
Not in that strange,
No, okay,
weird stuff that
We got,
we got, that
Yeah.
I don't know how we,
that's technical enough for me.
yeah,
cause I have no clue what that is all about, but I will certainly ask Nathan.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, like I said, because I know I normally didn't see that many line items for it.
Yeah,
so-
I know, that is absolutely bizarre.
Yeah.
But
Okay, which
then-
one do you wanna go to?
Okay, underneath that one, the 51, the elementary sped, right under the last
No, I'm sorry.
little Rams,
Elementary sped teacher salary right there.
yeah.
That says that you're gonna come in right on the money pretty much, within 4 cents, that's not bad.
Alright, how about, down, the same thing, 51110-3, high school.
This one, yep. Within 13
Okay.
cents.
Okay. Alright, we did have an overage in retirement, but that was based on that. Oh, contracted services, if you go to,
Let me know which one.
I know, I'm looking, still under the 1200, it's special ed 53203,
High sped,
contracted services.
Yep. it's over 12,424.
You know, and that is, because we don't have all of the services in-house, because that would be very expensive,
Mm-hmm.
but OT, PT, deaf, I mean, any services that any particular student needs, we have to contract that out. Okay, and then we have just below that, 55630, middle sped tuition.
Yep.
Is way over.
Way over.
Yep, those are the students that come in with an IEP that we have to send out. And again, we're working on a, 2018 default budget.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing with the high sped. And this is probably going to even be worse because this was September. And we had a couple students coming in this year that very expensive outplacement.
So now coming back to why I'm very happy to, and very pleased that we're gonna come in under the default to be able to get an approved budget going forward.
Yeah, I
So-
think we're gonna have to go into our, fund balance
Funds, yep.
for this year because it's, anyway,
Special education needs to be taken care of, we know that.
yep, I mean, there
Okay.
are no questions, we have to do it.
Let me ask the question, and maybe you, Doug, you pipe in if you can. With the remote learning, has that led to more special education needs?
Those students, Rob Claw, our special ed director, they can come in, like even on their off days.
Mm-hmm,
Fridays are kind of a special day.
mm-hmm,
So those students are getting the services that they need.
Okay.
So they're getting what they need on, if they're a gold cohort, then they're getting what they need from the regular teachers on the gold days. But then they're also getting the other support, and they have the option of coming in on their non-days and then Fridays. So
Okay.
he's been doing a really, really superb job.
yeah, I just
Making
didn't
sure
know
that-
if any of the current situation has led to more needs. for some of the students? In other words, have we addressed any students that now have needs that weren't there before because of the situation we're in?
Not really, because even if a student does not have an IEP, if a student needs extra help, I mean, that again is the Fridays,
Yep. Okay.
so. I
They
mean,
are being brought in.
What's that?
They are being brought in if they need extra.
Yep.
They don't
Yeah.
have an IEP, they're finding that they're falling behind.
right,
Well, I just didn't know, I mean, right now, this is, obviously, we all know this is very unique now. I mean, this has not been an easy year for anybody in regards to education. So I didn't know if the current situation and how things are being done, if that has brought to light problems we hadn't seen in the past, that now might fall under special education.
well, they don't, if a child is falling behind because they don't like the computer, or they're not doing their work, they're whatever, yes, they're falling behind, but they have to go through a whole process in order to go on to an IEP. So testing and identify a need that would require an IEP. And I don't think we've had any increases at all from a non-IEP to an IEP that Rob has even brought up.
Yeah, well, and I'm bringing it up because I know adults are more used to, you know, especially like if you, we put college students are more used to remote learning and some of those things. But you're certainly gonna have a situation, it's not the same as a controlled environment where they're in front of everybody.
Right.
They're now off, you know, Zoom type presentations and those types of things. Not everyone can learn that way. There are students, as we know, and there are people that hands-on,
Yeah.
being shown, demonstrated in front is a lot different than watch what we're doing on the computer, you know? So I just have a feeling that we're gonna see a new category of special needs following some of this.
Well, I think,
That don't fit the IEP
That don't fit
title.
the standard
Right.
That's
IEP
just-
issues,
Right.
right?
Need the extra assistance.
right, and I
I'll come to you, Doug,
honestly
honestly.
feel, having been in a full classroom,
Mm-hmm.
myself and teaching, and then doing remedial math with a smaller group of kids. I mean, I could bring those kids up, join, because you could look at
What they're doing while they're
what-
doing it.
Yeah, and what they actually need, and so I think the smaller groups in the classes,
I mean, I taught the same way, you know, because remedial math was something I taught at the shipyard. You had to do that too. And you're right, the smaller groups are gonna make it easier. I just think that, and Doug, I wanna come to your comment, but it's just, I think we're gonna see new categories. Somebody, I mean, you're gonna have parents are affected by it, obviously, and then being able, how they're gonna oversee, or who's overseeing what's being done and how they're working. But Doug, you had a comment?
I would say, what are you expecting on the 24th of November? You're gonna ask them, you're gonna want the department heads too? Or are you gonna do that at a later date? So the reason I'm saying
Oh,
that,
yeah.
if that's what you don't want, you might wanna save some of these questions on these.
Oh, no, and that's fine. I'm just looking at it in terms of, because we see the higher, the sped tuition aspect just kinda, I agree with you. That's not where I'm trying to go with this tonight. It was just a thought. But, yeah, I would say that when we get ready to do that, we're gonna wanna have them there to be able to do the presentation, correct? Or answer those questions.
but
So-
these out of placement or out of district placement students are not a result
No, I
of
understand
anything
that.
we're
It just
doing right now.
triggered
Yeah.
it just triggered a question for me,
Okay.
that's all. So go ahead, Peg. I didn't
All right,
wanna get back to this. We still got a little more business to contend with
Okay, I'll
tonight.
be fast.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't for you, that was for me. I delayed it a little.
No.
So I understand the sped, so,
Okay, so going, guidance, 2120, 51110. Again, which I talk about every time we do this, the elementary guidance teacher.
I got the high, I'm trying to find which one we're on,
Yeah,
guidance.
whoop, down, right, up, right there.
That's teacher health. I'm trying to find out where we're at. I see,
Oh, that's the health.
I'm trying to get to, Yeah, guidance, where
What
we're
in
at.
the world do you have here?
I've got middle guidance, high guidance, middle guidance salary. This is going according to what was sent. And I'm not saying there aren't any mistakes.
No, I'm just, it's like,
Let me go back to the data. This is the data Nate sent and make sure I didn't have, I know I'm gonna bring it up. Trust me. I can't read
okay,
it
go way
either.
down.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it over so we can see where we're at.
Another
Guidance.
smart selection.
Good night, Claudia.
Thank you.
Oh, good night, Claudia.
Good night.
Doesn't mean we didn't have a mistake in transitioning when this thing, cause all of these little lines don't line up anymore. So we're looking for guidance.
Oh,
Still get
No.
past sped, haven't got there yet.
sped. Oh yeah, keep going. Okay,
Other educational
No.
programs, that's the high
alright,
school.
you're looking for 2120,
Yeah, sorry,
so down.
Yep.
We're still at the 40.
there it is.
2120. Okay, elementary guidance teacher salary.
There it
That
is.
is the movement of an experienced teacher
Okay,
replacing a guidance
inexperienced.
counselor.
All right,
So she moved into, and again, we're back on the
I'll have to find out why.
1899 default budget.
Okay,
You know, and then anything related to that is over because,
what happened, I see what, by the way, there's the line, what happened was the title shifted because of Nate's, Nate's way of producing, he can't change it. It's giving us two lines of data and it doesn't always line up. So the numbers were right, but the title might be off.
okay.
So what's the next one?
Alright, the next one is 2220.
22,
And this will just continue for the rest of the year. It's the middle library, middle and high library salary.
All right, got the library health and I got library salaries. Yep, that's
Okay.
just over. Yep.
Yeah, those are over because she is in for extra days, so this covers, I mean, it's part of her contract.
Okay.
But again, the 1899 default,
Okay. 1899.
sure,
Wow.
isn't that when we went back to?
That was when Larry went back to school. That wasn't when I went back to school.
Hey, I was right there with him, it was a good year, right Larry? Okay.
I had to wake him up over there, so it was just.
Oh, stop it.
We didn't have to.
They didn't even have a single room schoolhouse. They couldn't afford one room back then.
Yeah, we had nothing.
Yeah.
We didn't learn history, it was all current events.
Yeah, it was. That's right.
Is that why I'm not remembering anything?
No.
No,
I never had
that's
that.
why Larry remembers everything. All right, what's the next one?
The rest of them are kind of,
It's pretty close on
Yeah.
most of it until you get down to some of the legal services, which I know you guys are.
well, that was contract, you know, an
Yep.
extra contract this year and,
Okay. So nothing pressing until we go back and look at some of the other things later
No.
on. So next month. All right. So let's get to, we'll come out of obviously we got to catch up on some of the costs. What we got now is to go through the minutes. And let me,
Larry,
really are having a heck of a time over there, Mr. Brown. We woke him up, we just realized that chairs actually have legs on them.
I'm ready to-
Yes.
Before we leave that, let me make one more plea for the 8.5 by 11 piece of paper.
Yeah.
Because it would be the simplest thing to have one page that says,
All the summaries.
over the past month, we've had the following
Yep.
personnel changes that affected salaries up and down. The planned capital maintenance program for air handling and fire systems
Yep.
are on target.
No, and by the way, that was where we intended, because I know Peg sent the thing out, but we have bounced back a couple months now trying to catch up, so I just brought the overall,
you may certainly look at
Yeah,
this, 'cause this is
spreadsheet
what
up.
I do,
What are they called?
this is called a tablet.
tablet.
But what I do every month, Larry,
It's like a rotary dial without a rotary.
You have telephones?
I used to, yeah.
but just quickly take a look at this, because if this
I'm gonna
Would
bring the
help
minutes up
you.
while we're at it.
Because I do that every month.
All right,
It
and,
might be.
and it will be, Larry, again, we've been bouncing this, trying to catch up on the budget.
Well, I
So-
know what Larry asks for
Yeah.
every month, but I mean,
Your screen just.
All right, you just want, yeah, I just want, all right, so let's, you all set, Larry?
Yeah,
All right.
that's all right.
What I want to do is bring us back so we can go through the minutes. I do have them. I moved all the minutes with all the changes, and I'm going to bring them up because I moved them all into one review folder because we have 5 sets of minutes. So I'm going to bring them up one at a time. Draft reviews. Amy, I'm going to have one change for you to put at the end of these things too, and it's just about putting your name and recording and an approved date when we get these approved. That was something we had in the past. You'll see that on the first one. So I'm gonna bring up the August 25th one, which is our oldest one. And this one was, and these do have all the changes identified in them. This was the one, Peg, you caught me on a couple, two Mrs. and 2 Misters. And a couple minor comments.
Grammatical changes? you
That was,
said?
yeah, the grammatical. You went and get rid of to conduct, and instead of question, it was questions. I don't want to go through all the details. I just know that we went through all these, and those were all the changes that were addressed on the minutes. And what I'll show you, Amy, too, as we go down, because there were no other changes down the bottom. See, at the bottom, it was generally we had respectively submitted, and it would be who did the recording. And then after that, there's a line usually we put in is when it was approved. Okay? I'll send it to you so you won't have to.
Oh, thank you.
Okay? So anyways, this one here, this was addressed, Peggy. I know you were the only one at the time, were the only one that made the comment, so
Shall I make a motion then? to
Please
approve
do.
These with the corrections as noted.
okay,
Second.
so do I have a second? Did you say Danielle, second? So we have a motion on the floor to approve these minutes with the corrections from Peg Hurd, seconded by Danielle Marique. Any discussion? All right. I'm gonna, by the way, this isn't like the budget, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No, so it passes unanimously. Claudine did leave.
Abstain.
I abstain.
Yeah, I know, Bob, I'm sorry, Bob had to abstain, he wasn't on there. So that would be Mr. Brown, Peg, Danielle, Lisa, and myself, Amy. Okay? And obviously, Mr. McDougal isn't here, wasn't anymore, so. All right, so that one's all set. I'm going to put a date down the bottom, and I will save that. For right now, I will fix it so it'll come back to you with the official fix, Amy. So, only because I want to get this done for us tonight. 20, save. All right.
Draft in the header.
Huh?
Draft in your footer.
Yeah, I'll get rid of all of the word draft because I gotta accept the corrections anyways. Next minutes for September 16th. Right here. I think that was the last of, and thank you for being in, Amy, because I didn't have to do this anymore. So in this one, I think this is the one that we went through as well, and let's see. You caught it at the end, Peg. There was a Ms. Hurd.
It's always your name that he Mrs.
That's because what I did was when I'm taking it from up top, I copied it and I forgot to write over the Ms. the first one. That's how that
Suck up
happened.
both of them.
So, anyways, I will.
Okay, I will
Good
make
motion.
a motion to approve the September 16th minutes with the corrections as noted.
Do we have a
Second.
second? So, approved with changes by Peg Hurd, seconded by Danielle Marique. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Abstain.
And abstain, Bob Carrier. But we can bring you up here, so we got one more set, and then you're on it, Bob.
Almost in.
Almost there. Almost there. All right, so that's 2 sets. The next one's October. I'm going to bring up the September 26th one, even though it's a different order, because then you'll be on from there, Bob. So that's the joint one. And we did have some changes on that one.
Oh, yeah, that was the.
That was the one where it got
Right.
posted. It got
Nice.
posted by the Board of Selectmen, but there was some change. There were quite a few changes. So to address the changes, it was
Yeah.
they took staff and put them under staff. Public was Bob Carrier. So those got, and then I also shifted in, and I know, Amy, that was the first time you took them. So the changes in here were trying to get used to people too, as to who was who. So everybody has seen the changes. The only other comments I get back were from Peg, and I got something back from Claudine. So including, because there was more than one change, it came in red and blue. So the bill is reviewed.
It's weird when I,
Yeah, well, no, that's because if
someone
when it
does
comes
the
back,
adjustment.
because a different person makes the change, it depends on what was picked on yours at the
I
time.
think I tried to highlight it in red, you know,
Yeah.
just that little bit,
Yeah,
and then
that's,
it turned everything
and if you
red,
notice,
and
it
then when I
says,
made the
well,
change-
I know, and it came back in blue because of it, so.
Don't like this format.
You don't like this
Anyway,
format?
okay.
This is Word.
It's very easy.
So with that in mind,
Alright, I will make a motion to accept the minutes for the joint BOSBC meeting of September 26th with all the changes.
do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Danielle Marique. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Larry, was that I didn't hit, yes, okay. All right, that's, so the September 26th is now approved on 11/12. I'm gonna go down and fix that one too. And you can see, Amy, I've got it here, so you'll be able to see, I put in for you to be able to just address it at the end later. So I will get those to you. 11, 12, 20, save. All right, next set of minutes is the October 8th. Bob, you will not abstain now, are you? No, I'm sorry, this is the one, yeah, this is the last one you abstained from because you became a member after the fact. All right, so these changes went through and we fixed it from carrier to carrier. We still recognize you one way or another, so. So there were some changes, but most of them were names, trying to get used to names. Couple of changes at the end. You must have liked this one, Peg, a little bit. You didn't change the colors when you gave them back to me. All right,
Okay, I will make a motion to accept the October 8th minutes with the corrections as noted.
Second.
Seconded from Danielle Marique, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, all right, so that passes. Bob still abstains on this one.
Yes.
All right, I will put that one in. Save it, and we'll fix that tomorrow. And the last set of minutes, 10:27. This one, very minor changes, but we did have a few little ones in here. So some name adjustments.
Okay, and retention.
Yep, a couple little editorial ones in here. Administrator, insurance and benefits, line items. Details are there.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of October 27th with corrections as noted.
Do I have a second? Second from Danielle Marique, so motion made by Peg, seconded by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Bob, you're in on this one?
Yes.
Got it. Thank you, sir. All right, our minutes are all ready to go,
Wow.
updated. We'll, Amy, I will send those to you, copy to you. I'll get them ready for posting too with Julius. All right, next up on our agenda. Oh, let me get rid of some of this other stuff that's on the screen here. And let me get back to where the agenda was. All right, next on the agenda, any other business before the board? Do I have any? Mr. Brown?
That, one thing, and it's just something that needs to be said loud and clear for people who are listening. And it's just one word, support.
Yes.
And that is support for the budget, support for all good work, you can see the departments are doing. Support for the fair expenses of doing government, and support for the clear detail of explanations.
Yep.
And I think that all four of those things are in place.
And this was, yeah, absolutely, and I think, I wanna add the fact, support for the fact that we work together. This wasn't one side and the other, although the changes can be frustrating sometime as we go through. We set forth a request at the beginning of this, and we started late, as we all know. I mean, with COVID, we started very late in trying to get this thing done. There's been changes to the team, and we put forth a request to get this under the default, and we've gotten there. So, Peg?
If I can just add,
Yes,
it was so much easier this year.
yes, it has been, and
Still
I'm
longer
happy.
than it should have.
What?
Still longer than it should have. With
Well-
the
Oh,
corrections
Yeah.
here and there,
Yeah.
and the back and
Last
forth.
year,
yes.
Hello, Peg.
did you spend a whole day at the fire station?
No, she
Peg.
means at the time, we're still in November trying to do something.
Oh,
That was the
okay.
part, yeah, so we'll get that clarified, because
I'm
we
sorry.
wanted, well, no, and you know what, we got better this year, because last year after that, it was change, and we didn't get answers. This year, at least, we're starting to get we've got answers with most of it, when we ask for it. But our goal for next year, one way or another, is to get the answers to the budget stuff by the end of September, and try to minimize the changes. I mean, we've had at least 5 or 6 iterations of changes
Yeah.
that I've posted. There's been more than that I'm trying to catch up, including just before tonight's meeting. So that's the part where it gets hard. But also, once we get to start posting these online, same thing with the expenses, the public will start seeing it. Larry, I completely concur, support, but for the public to be informed, then you get your support, and that's the big key, I think, so.
Well,
And-
Mr. Chairman, the big part of this is that the cooperation between the town administrator and the selectmen.
Yes.
was not in there. It was smooth, but wasn't smooth, but,
Smoother,
we did not clash.
Nope.
We worked pretty much together, and that's
Nope.
a big help right
Nope,
there.
absolutely.
That you're all too young. Mr. Carrier and I remember the 5:30 p.m. meeting to approve the budget before the 6 p.m. public
Yeah.
hearing.
Did Franklin sign that? I'm just curious.
Is that Benjamin or, the other?
It could have been any one of them at that point in time.
Yes, I remember that day.
No,
That was brutal.
no. Well, and I will, and to reflect Peg's comment, last year was too, when we were told, get over there and get the stuff signed now, or it won't be approved. So that was a little out of the realm of what we needed to. So, Lisa, you had something?
I just saw this potential handout for voters you had on the agenda, and we didn't.
Yeah, I didn't take that back out. Well, and in all honesty, to address that, the last meeting, I didn't pull it because it's not gonna be the handout, and I meant to address it, and that was one, I said, we are gonna post it. We couldn't obviously have a handout for the voters at that, but,
What about even that summary page?
no, the summary, because it's changing, I don't wanna hand a piece of paper to someone,
I'd have it.
and then they go, see what we've got?
Right.
And then, even tonight, explaining it with you guys, going, hey, and then I go, I forgot to tell you, all of you, that at 5 minutes before I went out the door, I had more changes. So, yeah, that's why I wanna keep it on the webpage the best we can. Once we've got something in the end,
Yeah.
then we will have handouts, just like we do at the town meeting. That's the place for it. So, any other, business?
I wish Claudine was still here, but status on warrant articles.
Yeah, that I don't
'Cause
have
we
an
need
answer,
to
that I don't have an
drill
answer
that
on
one
either,
too.
because we need that, and that needs to come up here
Like hurry up
rapidly, like last month it should have been
quick. Yep.
done. I will poke at that.
Mr. Chairman, I think you're gonna see it more in December, because
Yeah, I
the
think so.
planning board, I believe, Larry, that they're gonna bring the projects and
The planning board has worked. The problem with not the planning board, the CIP,
Yeah,
which we do not like being, we're putting in another request for a special CIP. But the CIP, for the projects requested, the total of that includes the $134,000 reimbursement for highway funds, for example, which has to go in to how the warrant is phrased.
Mhm.
So, I think that it is down under $500,000 in real money, even though the total is still higher. And I'm sorry, I do not remember what we got it down to as the bottom number, so that it is as close as possible to that mythical 500,000. But, again, the CIP committee, like the rest, has been trying to set the priorities, to move things into revolving funds so that they can become part of a warrant.
Usually, Mr. Chairman, the selectmen should be getting it somewhere around December, mid-December.
Right.
They will vote on what they're gonna approve, and the rest of it, well, they'll have to tell
We-
the.
Yeah,
We haven't
The
seen
only-
anything
No,
yet,
yeah,
though. That's
nothing-
my concern.
nothing's hit us. Normally, you're right, but we usually see some preliminary information and we haven't seen anything yet.
Like even just, hey, these are the
Yeah.
rough draft of what we're scheming and coming up with. We've
So,
seen
I will
nothing.
ask the first of the week, okay, I'll get the information, on what I can find out and where the status is. I may try, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to hit them up tomorrow, that's the reason, so I'll have answers for that. Doug, you had a comment?
Yeah, we have some warrant articles. We had a meeting last night when we did 2 approvals that Peg will be bringing up, but I brought it up also to the board.
Yep.
But start thinking of the warrant articles. So
Okay.
our board knows.
Yeah, we need,
I've mentioned it every meeting.
Yep.
What's the status? How
no,
are we
we
coming?
definitely are
Yes.
gonna need this. We're trying to move it up, obviously,
When do you
earlier. Tuesday would be
Yesterday.
good. No, I mean, no, I know Nate's working on it with it, prior to the 24th. I mean, I'd like,
On the warrant articles. We gotta work on the warrant articles.
no, I'm saying he's working on the budget information that we need for the 24th.
As soon
As soon as you
possible.
got, I mean, I'm just gonna give it to you the best you can. I mean, I'm not gonna give you a deadline right now. The
Know
sooner
what's
we
your
get,
bottom- I wanna know what's your bottom line deadline.
Tuesday would be great, but no, like I said, first part of December, at the end of the month would
We
be,
already drafted one.
yeah. If you have something at the end of the month, that's ideal.
Bring
Okay.
it again. Tell them to start thinking.
Just bullet points on a line
Yeah.
piece of paper would be perfect.
Yep, just to get us the heads up.
Something.
I will be putting out, because Ernie did give me and I've done this before, but Ernie did give me the deadlines that we've got and everything else, and where we need to be in January, and prior.
What's your answer?
Because January 30th is actually the earliest we can have the first town meeting. I don't expect it to be January 30th, because we almost always go into February. It's the February 8th, I think, is the last, something like that. I've got it. As a matter of fact, he gave me a hard copy, so I don't have it here right now. We've got our I've got it up here on the screen too. I can bring it up under our budget. So let me pull up the website for a
One
moment
thing I
here.
can really definitely tell you, if we have to take that money out of special ed, our number one warrant article is to put that special ed money back in.
Yeah.
Because if we get hit again, so that's.
Oh, no, absolutely. I understand that. So here's the deadlines we got coming up. First deliberative session somewhere between January 30th and February 6th, okay? The last day for petition warrant articles and all that is January 12th. So obviously, the earlier we have it in December, because Bob, you're right, the earlier we have it though, the better it's gonna be for us. We don't wanna be scrambling. If we're scrambling budget-wise, 2 months after our deadline, we can't afford
put the
2
focus
months after
in-
our deadline on the warrant articles. We don't want it to come down to, we need it now, okay?
We have a public hearing somewhere in January.
Yes, we do. Last day to deliver the last day for the budget committee to deliver budget and warrant article recommendations is the 21st, right?
Second
Then the-
Tuesday in January.
Yes.
It's,
Thursday before the Thursday before the last Monday in January for that. The last day to hold at least one budget hearing is the 19th, right here.
Right, but we have to have our posting by the
Yes,
second Tuesday.
right. Yes, we do. Last day to post the notice of the hearing is January 12th. So we need to know what we're doing before that,
Mm-hmm.
okay?
I remember one time we did those warrant articles, January 3rd, I only had half of it. I had to take another meeting and do it the next day. It came out, it was pretty bad.
All the more reason why I want to make sure we don't get to that point, so I will poke at that. It's the 12th of November.
Was it last year that,
So,
and Larry, you came up with
2 months.
the invasive species that your
Yeah,
grandmother's
it's not cool.
Because
Well,
the,
nothing.
there was, they were
Especially with the
written
holidays
so
and snow days, you never know.
poorly.
all right, so anyways,
Like I
any
said,
additional,
even
any
just
additional
Line
comments?
paper bullet points,
Yep.
something.
All right, so our next meeting, our next regular meeting is November 24th. We do need to tackle the school.
Yep, and
We'll figure out the logistics of that. Right now, I've asked for him to schedule it here, but if we need to shift it, we just need to know that, okay?
Yep, and I will get that all down and
All right. I thank everyone for tonight. I thank everyone for all the work leading to this point. Thank you very much. Mr. Currier, welcome back. This is the
Yes.
time. We're gonna, obviously, with the school coming up, there's gonna be a big piece that you've been involved in too, Doug.
I'm gonna ask you that question again, on the 24th, you don't know if you want department heads here. That's gonna increase your figure.
No, I know that.
You got, what, you got 7 or 8?
I'm trying to figure out, let me get back to you, the
That
first
would
part.
be Peg.
I'll talk with Peg, but I'm saying between the two of you, we'll have to figure it out. I don't know if the department head, first time through, I don't know. Last time we didn't do that, we came through, then we met with the department heads the second meeting. So,
Well,
Will
you know
someone
what?
please say something?
no.
What?
Yes, I know, Larry is waiting for a motion.
for what?
Yeah. Mr. Brown, you are
have a
more than
meeting
in touch.
next week?
All right, I will get back to you on that one, Doug. Mr. Brown, I will allow you to make that motion.
A second.
Please
I
do.
move that everyone stand up and leave. Adjourn.
All right. Adjourned, seconded by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody.